Hey everybody, welcome back. I'm actually going to be putting this up on a new channel. I'm putting it on my Pressure Points channel, but this one will go up on a new channel. It'll also go up on Facebook. But there's reasons why I'm doing this. Back in August 11th, 2015, I decided that was going to be the end of the last day of my participation in the world as we know it. So I renounced the world. Now, that doesn't mean that I became Howard Hughes and became a recluse, but in some ways I have. But it does mean that I've stopped participating in certain things, and I'm participating in less and less. End of January of 2016, Scott and I jumped aboard a plane at Pearson Airport in Toronto, and we headed to Bucharest, Romania, where a few days later we located in Brasov as per our plans. Now I'm in a city that is very, very quiet, very, very peaceful in the mountains of Transylvania, middle of nowhere, and I love it. Hey, I'm oblivious to the problems that are the Romanian world, and I like that too. And as I hear about them, and because you do, I just discard them. Doesn't matter to me. Right? But I'm doing this video for the purpose, and all these videos, to try to make you think. I'm not trying to tell you what to think. I don't need to tell you what to think. You have a government for that. You have a medical system for that. Medical system, government, same thing. I don't need to tell you what to think. You've got religion for that. I'm hoping to get you to think, because you're not. Anyways, back, I believe it was December 21st, 2012, the world was supposed to end according to the Mayan calendar, and of course the nutcases, they hoard his shit and all that type of stuff. And the day came and went, and it was really pretty uneventful. I was not expecting the end of the world, but I did subscribe to the idea that there would be a change. And there has been a change. Not the change that all of the spiritual gurus hoped for, which was that, the world would become happy and everybody would love each other and we'd have a giant suck fest that would go on planet Earth, and the fact that it is a world based on dualities of good and evil, that somehow or another evil would end and there'd be nothing but joy and good. No, I never bought that bullshit. It's a fantasy created in order to give people something to do. Right? However, I did believe that there would be a new beginning of sorts, and I was correct. It just wasn't exactly as I would have thought it was. People got stupider. They went further to sleep. They became oblivious to what was important, and they became absorbed in crap that has nothing to do with anything and is not important. Right? Intelligent people, their IQs. Now, when I'm talking about intelligent people, I'm not talking about educated people, because those have nothing to do with each other. I'm a high school dropout. Your ability to regurgitate bullshit that you have read does not make you intelligent. Right? It gives you good memory. Intelligence comes from people who can have independent thought on a subject. And that's what I'm hoping to do with this, is create independent thought. The other day I was scrolling through Facebook and I saw a picture that this woman who is on my Facebook was very, very upset about. And it was white people with blackface paint. And she posted about it, and she was really upset. And how racist it was, and how blah, 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 blah. And are you not thinking enough to realize that that was created to create the effect that it did, which is called dissension? Okay. I see a picture on Facebook, and some of them I like, some of them I don't like, but for the most part, if I printed them, they would make really uncomfortable toilet paper, because that's not all of what they're worth. They're just worth shit. We don't ask the questions as to Example, why is this here? It doesn't even look like an accidental picture. It looks like professional pictures done, and then they're assembled in such a way as to be able to post on Facebook and other social media to piss off the black community. How can you now have a black president for 8 years, but you have more racial problems than you had before that? Right? But that's not even what my interest is at this point in time. My interest is just to get you to think. The way the human brain works, I would like you to think about this. You spend all day long carrying on conversations in your head. And all of those conversations are in the form of a question. You ask yourself a question, you answer it. You ask yourself a question, you answer it. Right? But yet, we have stopped asking questions. Why have we stopped asking questions? Because we've done a wonderful job of putting people to sleep, whether it be with the food, which we all know they've poisoned you with, fluids, which are horrible. You look at how much pop is consumed in there, and pop has been linked to shutting down the pineal gland. Pineal gland is essentially your mind's eye. Now, some people refer to it with the third eye, but it is the place where it actually has optic nerves and things like that, just like your eyeball does, but it's not receptive to light, where it is in your brain, because it's basically very close to the brainstem. It is where, when you imagine things, this is the area of the brain that is used. But your imagination is gone because you don't have to anymore, because you can consume, and then you can sit in front of a computer, you can play computer games. Or you can walk down the street with your selfie stick and constantly take pictures of how beautiful you are from different angles. Right? You are oblivious. And then you go on Facebook and you get pissed off about the things that don't matter. And they don't matter. You're being had. Now, let's ask a few questions. And the reason for these questions is when I came here, I started doing a lot of research and a lot of different things. I spent a great deal of time because I wanted to rebuild my Windsor school, going back over marketing things, and yeah, we're getting new students all the time and things are going well there. Started a school here because I got to do something, right? Been working on my pressure point business online. That's going pretty well, but I've also been consumed with things based on science. And what I've discovered about science is lions. They lie nonstop. Why would they lie to us? Oh, you're a conspiracy theorist. Why would they lie to us? For money? Money, power, money, same thing. Let's take a look at the medical lions and the whole vaccination thing. Very soon, many of you are going to run out like good little boys and girls and get your flu shots. Why? Because you're told to. Flu can kill you, you know. So can a car. So can alcohol. So can me if I'm pissed off enough. Can't vaccinate against those things. But if you question it, we're the authority. How dare you question us? Yeah, that's how your life goes. You think of a question and you are told by the authorities, who are, by the way, self-appointed, no, that's not correct. How dare you ask a question like that? When I was a kid, they used to talk about how polio was cured. Why the fuck do you need a vaccination for it then? Now, if you want, I'm not telling you not to get vaccinations. I'm not telling you not to get your flu shot. I'm telling you to ask the fucking questions. If you like the answer, by all means, but if you actually start asking the real questions, I watched, it was 2011 in August, and I watched that fucking piece of shit Obama stand up and talk about the flu that was coming in November. And you're too stupid to ask the fucking question about, first off, how does the president know that? He's not a goddamn doctor. He might have sucked a doctor's dick, but he isn't a doctor. And how the hell do they know? There's only two options. They're lying or they created it. But we are the authority. I will tell you straight out, I recognize no authority on this planet. Period. None. The only authority in my life is me. I will respect the laws of where I live. I do not acknowledge the authority. There's a big difference. But you're all, right? Acknowledging the authority. Ask the questions. Now, I'm going to talk about NASA. Because that's one of the greatest money pit lying sacks of shit there's ever been. Do you know that NASA was founded by Nazis? Look it up. After the war, the Russians and the Americans did a lot of fighting over who got the scientists. It's history, guys. It's in the books. Look it up. Now, let's talk about the International Space Station. You can watch it live on YouTube. How come there's no stars? How come there's no stars? Never. How come there's no stars? They are working on going to Mars with people. I've all talked about that. And NASA admitted there's a big problem with going to Mars with people. I can never remember the name. Van Allen belt. So I was looking for the Van Allen belt, which is a magnetic field that surrounds the Earth and it's caused by the poles. The Van Allen belt is unbelievable radiation. It will cook somebody going through it. It will destroy all the instrumentation. The levels are beyond what we have ever been able to understand here on Earth as far as this type of stuff. And NASA has said, we are building this new craft and we're going to try to get through this belt. And we really don't know what's going to happen. We hope our shielding is good enough, blah, 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 blah. Okay, now this belt is 1,300 miles from the Earth's surface. How the fuck did we go to the moon? The astronauts' reply was, well, we didn't know about that then. So if you don't know about something, then it has no effect. How did we send probes to Pluto? The only probe that came in was up Uranus. I hate to tell you that. Ain't no probes on Pluto. It's all CGI. Look at the pictures. They're bullshit. But you've seen so many movies and you've been so well programmed, you think that CGI that they use in the movies is real. Look at the pictures from the International Space Station. They don't even look real. They look like a cartoon. Oh, why would NASA lie? The billions and billions of dollars they are getting from your tax money, America? Why would they not lie? Why would they not lie? How come we have up-close pictures of Pluto, but we don't have one of Earth? The Earth pictures are admitted Photoshop composites of various scans done over time by craft that have been up in the air, mostly weather balloons, because they've got high altitude weather balloons. They admit that. Japanese took a picture, supposedly. All the weather patterns move at exactly the same speed. But nobody's better at CGI than the Japanese are. How come there's no actual pictures of the Earth? Why? They will evade that question as much as Hillary evades every question. Next question. Now, I'm not telling you what to think. I'm telling you to think. And you're getting this stuff because this is stuff I've been studying. Earth rotates east to west. West-east, sorry. At the equator at 1,037 miles per hour. Now, that happens to be a little bit better than 300 miles per hour, faster than the speed of sound. Now, up at the poles, it barely moves, speed-wise. Right? Just the fact of a sphere. Right? Remember your physics. Grade 12 physics. Right? How do people talk at the equator when it's broken the sound barrier? How can a plane break the sound barrier at the equator when it's already past the sound barrier? Okay, enough of that question. I was out for a walk the other day because it was a beautiful sunny day. I wanted to take some pictures, and I posted them from around the city. And as I was looking up in the sky, there was a plane flying from south to north with an enormous chemtrail. Right? And of course, we're all going to pretend that that doesn't happen. Steam dissipates. It doesn't stay up there for 4 or 5 hours like this thing does. Right? But the plane's going, it's buzzing across. Now, approximately where we are on a globe, the Earth is spinning at around 750 miles per hour. How come, as I am standing looking to the west at a plane flying north to south, how come that plane does not move east over my head and off in the other direction? I mean, 750 miles per hour is hauling some fucking ass, especially when you're talking about small objects. Good question, eh? NASA does have a bullshit answer for that, by the way. And the answer is so ridiculous that you'd sit there and you'd shake your head and you'd go, what? Their answer is gravity, by the way. And that makes no sense whatsoever. It's called the Coriolis effect. Part of the Coriolis effect. Okay. Coriolis effect would state that if you and I were sitting on a merry-go-round and we were going around and I went to throw you a ball, the ball goes in a straight line and misses you. Okay. Now, the Coriolis effect does not apply to airplanes. That's why I can do that. Really? Okay. Sure. Coriolis effect is a fact. As close to a fact as you can get. All of the experimentation and observations they have made lead you to believe that there is no such thing as a fact in science. It's probabilities. And anybody who tells you it's a fact is full of fucking shit, and they're lying. Even the ones with the good hearts who don't think they're lying because they're regurgitating, pretending they're intelligent, they're regurgitating what they have documented in their head without any proof whatsoever. Anyways, on to that question. Now, so 24-hour cycle, we whip around at this dizzying speed. The moon orbits us. It takes a month for the moon to go around the Earth. How convenient, eh? Month. 24 hours in a month. Those are really cool numbers, eh? How they just fit so perfectly. Which means that since we turn every 24 hours and it goes every month, 15 days out of the month, the moon would be visible in the daytime sky. But it's not. Occasionally it is. But for the most part, it's always in the nighttime sky, isn't it? Doesn't make sense. Doesn't make sense at all. And yes, you can have a bullshit answer for that too. Because the questions have been asked. And the authority, this is why. How dare you question this? You have no business questioning this. We have proven this. Really? That's not science, boys and girls. It's governmental. Okay. Now, that of course would also totally fuck up the phases of the moon based on that. So none of that makes any sense. how come that as I am standing here in the northern hemisphere and I can look off at the moon in various directions of the sky, right? Not going to be the north part of the sky. I see the moon this way. But if I go to the southern hemisphere, I still see the moon this way. I would see it this way. The angle by which I would be looking at it would be totally different. But it isn't. That's a perplexing question. Question I asked before on this, but I'm going to reiterate this one. We have the sun in the middle. We have Mercury, we have Venus, we have Earth, we have Mars, we have Jupiter, we have Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, Pluto. So it's daytime here right now. If I were to look in the general direction of the sun, because these are rotating around the sun. So if the sun is here, the other planets are going to be in this general axis, and our axis is allegedly wider. They would be in the daytime sky, which of course we would not see because there's too much light. How come that when we rotate and face the other way, how come they're visible in the sky? How is that possible? And in fact, since everything orbits at different speeds, most of the time you should never see them. It's a good question, isn't it? But the authority will tell you you're insane and you're stupid. We've proven all of this. How? Sun is 93 million miles, I believe it is, from Earth. How the fuck did you guys measure that? Did you bounce a laser off it or something? How did they measure that? How did they tell what the gases were that were there burning? They worked out some pretty good math, but you can, once again, you can get math like statistics to do all sorts of things if you manipulate the numbers. Doesn't make it fact. Science is observation and theory. More observation, does the theory still apply? More observation, does the theory still apply? No, the theory doesn't apply. Let's find a new theory. What's math got to do with it? Now, math has its functions, and it's certainly useful for some things, but you know, they can make math that was fact because the math says this. I always wondered about that. But when you create your own industry, you can make it do what you want. Fascinating. So the sun is this far away from the Earth. Okay. No, wait, I'm just going to pause here for 1 second because I want to get something to illustrate something for you. Hang on 1 second. Okay, I'm back. Now, up here in the sky, we have the sun. There is the sun. Right there, she's burning in the sky. Now, I'm going to hold, as we do this, I'm going to do this a little bit differently. Here, I'm not thinking as I'm doing this. Oh, admission, I still don't think all the time either. I'm going to tilt this back so that we have the sun. Now, what I'd like to observe here is we're going to put the clouds in front of the sun. Okay? It blocks out the sun for a certain aspect. Now, as you can see as I'm doing this, that the paper towel does become lit, but it's pretty much evenly dispersed across it. Right? Now, As an observation, I want you to do this on the next sunny day you have with clouds out there. How come, if that's the case, that we get this type of an effect through the clouds? Okay. Now, the flashlight on my phone is much, much closer. So we get hot spots in the clouds. Right. Hot spots in the clouds would state, by the laws of how light works and the fact that light disperses, it comes out initially very concentrated and then disperses, it would tell you that the sun is nowhere near as far away as they say it is. Interesting observation, isn't it? Very interesting observation. Now, this has gone a little bit longer than I had planned on going, but I want to talk a little bit about curvature of the Earth. I cannot remember the numbers, and if you want the science, send me a private message or leave a comment or something, depending on where you see this, and I will be happy to send you the links for the science for this, because I'm not going to reiterate the science for it right now. But when you look at the horizon, an example that I'm thinking of is across Lake Ontario as you're heading towards Toronto. Right? You can see 60 miles across the lake towards Toronto. Okay. But yet, by the actual numbers of the curvature, that's not possible. Okay. Now, the scientists will tell you that, as an example, you're looking at a ship going across the lake, and a great example back in Windsor is Lake St. Clair or Lake Erie, because you have so many freighters going back and forth across there, and you will watch the freighter disappear into the horizon. Now, as it has disappeared from your line of your ability to see it, take out binoculars and it comes back into view. And as it disappears from that, if you use a telescope, it comes back into view. How is that? How is that possible? If you ask the question, you're not going to like the answer you're going to get, because the answer is a lie. Why keep all this stuff from people? Ask the question. Go look it up. You'll figure it out very quickly. You'll figure out why all these things are kept from you. Why you're manipulated. Right? New World Order. You've all heard of it. Why hasn't it happened yet? Only one reason the New World Order has not happened. The American government has not been successful taking the arms away from the people yet. As soon as that is done, you'll have a new world government. You'll have one world government. You'll have one world religion, which is what they've been shooting for centuries. But you got to disarm America first, because it is the only country in the world that is armed. Okay? America has kept the play. The United States of America has kept the world from having a new world order for a very long time. Got to ask the hard questions. Are you going to change any of this with your answers? No, you're not. But you're going to wake up. And enough people wake up and realize you've been had. You've been had since you were born. The bullshit and the programming started the day you were born. I have found some answers that, to be perfectly honest with you, have rocked me, because it's upsetting to realize how stupid I have been to believe any of this stuff for as long as I have. You do some research, you'll find out why there's going to be a war. You'll find out why there's been every war. You'll find out why they still stand by the lie that Christopher Columbus discovered America when we all know he didn't. You'll understand why the indigenous people have been persecuted. It all becomes very, very clear when you actually start to think and ask questions. And that's all you can do. I'm not going to sit here and tell you based on my observations and my research what I believe. You have to come to your own conclusion, because otherwise I just play government on you and try to tell you that things are a certain way when they may necessarily not be that way. Right? Because I don't have enough answer. I have enough evidence for an answer that satisfies me. I don't have enough evidence for an answer by which I am willing to try to make other people see my point of view, other than the point of view that you need to think. And you seriously do. You need to wake up, start thinking, and start changing the way that you conduct yourself. For those of you who, as I ask the questions, regurgitate anything that you have been told to think, I suggest taking your selfie stick out and go take some pictures. I'm sure you'll look really good on Facebook. You do need a new profile picture after all, because you probably haven't changed it in 2 or 3 days. I hope that a few people wake up and smell the shit, because it's shit. I was going to say roses, but roses doesn't apply. I was walking the dogs together the other day, and in front of one of the stores down the street, I saw this enormous brown pile. And I stopped and I looked at it and I thought, she's going to blame Alpha for this. Right? And I wasn't going to pick it up. My dogs didn't do it. I wasn't going to pick it up. But the fact of the matter was, is when I looked at it, I didn't have to get down there, smell it, and taste it to know it was shit. Obvious what it was. And if you start to open your eyes and look around and think, everything becomes very, very obvious when you wake up. Hey, I'm awake. One more little comment that I'm going to make, because the Americans' election is 2 weeks away. And I have a hypothesis on that election result. But how deep the programming goes, the world has been turned into a giant, sobbing, crying pussy. Oh, he said the P word. And people are so worried about being offended, they don't care about anything else. You can't offend me. You can make me want to punch you in the face, but that's got nothing to do with being offended. You have two candidates that are not very good. But you've got all these people who are going to vote for Hillary because she is a woman. And then they're not going to vote for Trump because he's an asshole. No, Trump is the better choice, because it'd be much better to elect a very rich asshole who really doesn't need any more money than somebody who has committed murder, not directly, but she called the shots, is treasonous, has perjured herself, has committed fraud, whose husband, when president, was going to be impeached. But somehow, all of those evils are okay because she's not an asshole. Man, you're asleep. You are asleep, you are asleep, you are asleep. Plus, she has some serious medical issues, and if you don't see that, you're asleep. Okay, that's my 35 minutes of fame for today. My apologies for this being quite as long as it is. There's some people who call these short videos, but to me this is extremely long. Until later, pull your cranium out of your anal canal and start doing some thinking, people. Have a good one.